So in the last month, I visited the biggest expo in the field of smart home, and then I got a chance to interview a couple of IoT companies, and during those interviews, I tried to fetch out some important details like what kind of technologies they are using for their product and what kind of skills they are looking for while hiring the new candidates for their company. And in this video, I'm gonna list down those 5 specific skills that you need to work on to get instantly hired by those IoT companies right now at this moment. Just stick around, let's get started with this video. So starting with the hardware part. So the heart of any IoT product is its chip, is its microcontroller, is its microprocessor. So when I asked company about what kind of chip or what kind of microcontroller they are using in their product, well, majority of them answered that they are using the chips from the Aspressive system. That means either ESP8266 chip or the ESP32 chip. Okay, so these are the chips that are used by the IoT industry for making their IoT products, and Aspressive chips become the ideal choice because that chip is not only powerful, but they also provide built-in Wi-Fi connectivity, built-in Bluetooth connectivity, built-in BLE connectivity, and in future they will also be providing the Matter connectivity and Thread connectivity and everything. Okay, so Aspressive chips become the ideal choice. So I'll suggest you to get started with learning ESP32 as soon as possible because that is something that the companies are using. And if you're not familiar about this ESP32 board and want to get started with it easily, well, I'll recommend you to watch out our series about ESP32 board where we started that board, started using that board from very scratch. I'll list that playlist link down in the description of this video. So first skill is to learn ESP32 hardware. After learning the hardware, let's just move on to the programming part. Okay, so after hardware, the obvious term is like what kind of programming language do they are using or what kind of programming skills they are looking for. Well, when I asked this question, they told us that they are using the RTOS on that ESP chips, and RTOS is written in C++ language. So second skill that you need to work on is C++ language. Now, if you're thinking that you are already doing the Arduino programming and that is a C++ language only, well, yes, that's a C++ language. So if you already did programming in Arduino IDE, well, you are way closer to those skills required by the companies, but you need to move a step ahead. Now what happens is the code in Arduino IDE contains only 2 functions, void setup and void loop. So they are not enough for the multitasking and multi-threading functionalities that RTOS offers. Okay, so Arduino lacks somewhere there. But what you can do is you can start learning free RTOS that supports in Arduino IDE, and you can start with the multitasking and multi-threading codes in it, and these kind of RTOS are used in the companies. And when I asked about what kind of development framework they are using, then they told me that they are using the ESP-IDF. Now ESP-IDF is Aspressive own made development environment where you can write the code in C++ and you can upload it on ESP32 or ESP8266 boards. Now the compatibility between the ESP-IDF and Aspressive chips is way more higher as compared to any other development platform. And it's obvious because both the environment and the chip are from the same company. So when you write the RTOS or the C++ language code in ESP-IDF, you'll get more flexibility on using the built-in APIs of the ESP chips. Okay, so second skill that you need to work on is C++ language and also ESP-IDF. Start writing the RTOS codes in ESP-IDF that you have to prepare. After that, let us start with the third skill, which is the PCB designing. Now when I ask about the companies that what kind of designing software do they are using, well, the answer was pretty much obvious. The answer was something which I was expecting only, and the answer was the Altium PCB Designer software. Guys, Altium is the only software that all the big companies, all the tech companies, all the IoT companies, all the embedded companies in general are using to develop their own IoT or electronic products. Okay, so if you are thinking on to going into this field of PCB designing and PCB inspection in different companies, well, the obvious thing that you have to learn is I should learn that Altium PCB Designer software. Okay, so you can start the trial version, whose link you can find in the description, obviously. And this is not sponsored. This was the actual answer given by the companies whom I interviewed. Okay, so that's the third skill, learn the LTM design the software. Fourth is about the IoT protocol. Okay, so as there were the smart home companies, the IoT companies you can say, and in any IoT product, we require a communication protocol to send and receive data between the devices and the server. Okay, so when I ask about which kind of protocols they are using for data transfer or messaging protocol, again, the answer was pretty much obvious and most of you already guessed it already, I think. So that's the MQTT protocol. Now the MQTT protocol is the most widely used messaging protocol for transferring data between these small hardware devices to the cloud to and fro, and it becomes the ideal choice because of its features like low latency, low power, lightweight, and what you can say, security. Okay, so these are some of the features, some of the many features which makes the MQTT the ideal choice for the using as a to be used as a communication protocol in IoT devices. If you're not aware about MQTT protocol, well, don't worry at all. I have made dedicated video about what actually an MQTT protocol is and how does it work. Not only that, I also made videos about how to use MQTT protocol with the help of the ESP8266 and ESP32 boards as well. Down in the description, you get every link which I discussed in this video. So fourth, do prepare your MQTT skills, do learn how this protocol works, how you can implement on your side. Fifth and the last skill which I need to share with you guys is about the cloud platform. Okay, so IoT device obviously requires a cloud platform to send the data, to store the data and stuff like that. Okay, so what happens when I try to interview companies, there were three different kind of companies which I found. One of those were the companies who are just white labeling the products. That means they are buying the IoT products from the X brand, naming it their own brand and selling it to the consumer. Okay, so those kind of companies were not at all knowing anything about their product, like which technology they are using, which cloud server they are using. So they were having no knowledge. They were just the businessmen who were selling those products to you, and that's it. They are providing the services, but they don't know much about their products. Those were one of the type of the companies. Second type were they were using the ready firmware from the Tuya IoT platform. So Tuya IoT platform provides a cloud service and application, and also the firmware which you can directly deploy on the ESP based chips, ESP8266 chips, and you can use that chip for your project by embedding or attaching another microcontroller like the Atmega microcontroller. Okay, and they also provide an app which you can rebrand according to your brand name and sell it to your customers. Okay, so Tuya IoT platform is one thing that number of companies were using because that makes their task way more easy. They don't need to study detail about the cloud computing. They don't need to develop separate apps, nothing like that. So Tuya IoT platform I'll recommend you to be familiar with because there are some companies who are dependent on Tuya IoT platform. So if you are going to those companies, they'll be happy to hire you if you are knowing everything about Tuya IoT platform. So that's one thing that you learn. And third type of company is one who was developing everything from scratch in-house. Okay, so those companies, when I asked the question about which cloud platform they are using, they answered me that they are using the Amazon Web Services. That means the AWS cloud platform. Okay, so that's the fifth skill that you have to work on, is start working with the AWS cloud platform in case you want to go in the IoT company for the cloud computing part. For the backend, majority of the companies are using Amazon Web Services. And yes, those were the 5 skills that you need to work on right now to get hired by any IoT company in the market. And these answers are given by the industry peoples only, so you can directly trust on these answers. Okay, and yeah, that was all about this video. Also, do let me know in the comments about, do you have any other question which you think I should ask to the industry ready people, maybe in some other interview. Do share your questions which you are having in your mind regarding the industry, regarding the work culture, regarding the technologies, anything. You can drop down your questions in the comments. Maybe next time I'll ask those questions to other people. Also, if you want to watch out those interviews which I have taken in detail, like the full length interviews, you need to subscribe our channel because we are publishing interviews one and the other week. Okay, so one of the interviews already live, which was with the Espressive Systems. Yes, the Espressive System. It's already live on my channel. You can watch it out right now and subscribe for other interviews as well. They are coming up soon on our channel. Also, if you like this video, if you get some values out of it, do click the like button. Also, there's a super thanks button. So if you got some really useful, valued information, you can do a super thanks to support our channel. Also, you can support us on Patreon. Like if you want, it's not compulsory. And yeah, your like and subscribe will be enough for us. And yeah, that being said, I'm just ending this video here and now. Just wait for my next episode. Explore, learn, share with me, techiesms.